it's not. It is the grandest room I have ever seen.
Oh, and one more thing.
Yes. Your mother's ring.
Your piety is a jewel more precious than the jewels which sparkle in the ring. Still, although you possess a richer treasure, accept this gift. A feeble compensation for the wrong you have suffered. It may someday serve you well when you are married.
I am overwhelmed, my lady.
This is your new life, Mary. Is it not greater than your grandest dream?
Indeed. Although, there is one thing that I have left behind that I feel should be addressed.
What is that?
I must make another journey.
For this and to Lamplighter Theatre, come visit us at lamplighter.net.
Good morning, class.
Next on Adventures in Odyssey,
Before we begin today, I want to introduce a new member of our class at Odyssey Academy.
Freddie Hart hopes a new school will change his image.
I want to change so the kids at school will like me.
Appearances can be deceiving.
And about your hair. What's wrong with it?
Freddie, it's Geek City.
On the next Adventure in Odyssey.
Listen for Odyssey, Monday evening at 7:30, 6:30 Central on BBN. Welcome back to Lamplighter Theatre.
What's that?
Well, it sounds like a carriage.
It is. Come.
Whoa! Who are they?
Quiet. It's the Countess of Eichborg.
Who is that accompanying her?
Hello, Madam Helen.
Mary?
Wow.
Are you Madam Helen?
Yes, my lady. May I ask what brings you here?
Amelia and I have actually come to see Elijah and Sarah.
Hello?
Are they here?
No. They are...
Where have they gone?
They went to live in another town.
Which town?
No, they did not say.
I see. Well, I suppose we shall go looking for them then. Thank you so much.
They were turned out.
Yes.
What?
She told my parents to leave just this morning, and I allowed it.
You allowed your own parents to be forced out of the house?
I was actually not aware she did it, but I also did not prevent it. I take responsibility.
They were unable to pay rent.
Did you give them a time of grace?
No, my lady. We did no such thing.
Well, I will not be as ungracious as you were to your own parents. You may remain in your home. However, you will be subject to a tax, which will be sent to Elijah and Sarah for the rest of their lives.
This is outrageous.
And after Elijah and Sarah have passed, the tax will continue to be paid to Mary. Do you wish to carry the conversation any further?
No, my lady. Amos, say something.
Yes, I will. Countess,
Yes?
you should look for my parents at the church. It is likely they stopped there to pray.
Thank you, Amos.
And this is the cottage where we lived. Small, but it was a wonderful place to grow up. Beautiful.
Must have many memories stored here.
Oh, I do. And now it is time for you and Sarah to make some memories of your own. For this is your new home.
What? The royal family has agreed to grant you this land. It was Mary's idea.
We are overwhelmed with gratitude.
Then you will accept the gift.
Well, Sarah?
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Very good.
This is a most extraordinary gift.
We have been told that you are extraordinary people.
Thank you.
We shall leave you to your new home.
Come, Mary. It is time for us to go back to your new home as well. Mary? What is the matter?
Amelia, this is my home.
What?
As wonderful as it is in the castle, and as grateful as I am for the offer to make it my home, I prefer to live here.
Live here?
With Elijah and Sarah. They will need help, especially tending the garden.
You have lived your entire life in need. And now you are finally given the opportunity to live a life of luxury and privilege. How are you able to reject it?
No one lives a life of poverty when they have been given the gift of the Master Gardener. I know that God will always provide and protect. He will never leave me, nor forsake me.
I have heard you say those words before.
Yes, but this time, these words are mine. Hello, Father. I had a lovely day today. I spent time with Amelia. I met a young man. His name is Frederick, and he's wonderful, like you. He is the judge's son. I believe the two of you would like each other very much. You were right, just as you always were. God never left me, even in the darkest hours. The times I felt the loneliest were the times when God held me the closest. I have been blessed in so many ways. I do not have much time. I must leave now, but first I wanted to give you this gift. A fresh basket of flowers. I hope you are enjoying the garden where there are no thorns. Until I see you face to face. I love you. Goodbye.
Mr. Finian!
Oh, Jessica, did you finish that project for me?
I finished the book, yes. It was beautiful.
Oh.
It was about this girl named Mary who was accused of something she didn't do, and she had to leave her country, and it sounds a lot like me.
Well, how about that?
I mean, I vanished from my country, but I could very much relate to how she... Wait. So I was your project?
Well, you could put it that way. So tell me something. Did Mary really trust God?
She did. But it was so hard. It was awful what they did to her.
I know. Life is like that sometimes. You know, sometimes it's full of awe, and sometimes it's just awful. Jesus never promised us life would be easy. But he did promise us he would be with us. Always. So you might say that Jesus is your true BFF.
Best friend forever.
You got it. Now, you headed home to talk to your parents?
Yeah.
What a fantabulously splendorific idea. But first, Jessica, I've got a little something you can take home with you.
What is it?
Yeah, it's this.
A basket of flowers. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Finian.
Oh, you can thank Mr. Von Schmidt for the inspiration.
The author?
The very man. You know, he may be dead, but his stories are still very much alive. In fact, did you know that he wrote a... Oh, well, that's quite another book for quite another time.
Bye-bye, Mr. Finian. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye, Jessica. Ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-dum. Ba-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, dum-dum-dum. And thank you, God, for the little book you sent me that started it all.
You've been listening to The Basket of Flowers, selected from the Lamplighter family collection of rare books. The Basket of Flowers was the very first book in the Lamplighter collection. It was originally written in German by Christoph von Schmidt. Von Schmidt also wrote a famous German carol, O Come Little Children, which our composer John Campbell has woven into the music score for our audio drama. For your own copy of the book, The Basket of Flowers, or the complete unabridged version of this audio drama, visit us online at lamplighter.net. Finian Jones was played by Jess Harnell. Mary was Kathy Sarah. James, John Badley. The Countess by Elizabeth Council. Amelia was Jade Williams. Juliet, Emma Flett. Amos was Peter Morton. And Helen, Finty Williams. The judge was played by Robert Young. Elijah, Robin Meredith. Sarah by Christine Way. The Woodman by Philip Sherlock. And the prisoner was Paul Webster. This audio play was written and directed by Marshall Younger. Bookend story by John Fornoth. Sound design by Mark Drury of Remarkable Productions, with assistance from Gap Digital. Recorded at the Soundhouse Studios, London, England. Music composed by John Campbell. Our producer, John Fornoth. Associate producer, Bob Hoose. Our London casting director, Philip Glassborough. And our executive producers, Mark and Deborah Hanley. I'm your host, John Rhys Davis. We've enjoyed our visit with you. Come back soon. You're always welcome here at Lamplighter Theatre.
WYFH North Charleston, reaching your family for Christ.
SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. George Williams reporting on President Trump's latest job approval numbers.
Friday's Real Clear Politics average of 13 high-profile polls has President Trump's job approval at 46.4%. Drilling down, his mark is almost a full percentage point higher than his two-term predecessors, Presidents Obama and Bush, on a same-day comparison. Also, within Mr. Trump's numbers are 3 polls which indicate a significant approval above 50%, according to Rasmussen, Insider Advantage, and RMG Research. 3 other polls have Mr. Trump near the break-even point, within a 5% margin of error. George Williams reporting.
Vice President J.D. Vance in Southern California Friday saying there's mixed news regarding the protest in that city.
The good news is the rioting has gotten a lot better. But the bad news is, as I heard from everybody, unfortunately the soldiers and Marines are still very much a necessary part of what's going on here because they're worried that it's going to flare back up.
B-2 bombers have been deployed to Guam. They're on their way as we speak. That in a major show of force by President Trump. Massive aircraft from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. In the meantime, the president has returned to the White House this afternoon and is set to meet with his top advisors in the next hour or two. Israel's military has struck an Iranian nuclear research facility and killed 3 more senior Iranian commanders in targeted attacks. Israel says it is also preparing for the possibility of a lengthy war. A British-flagged luxury super yacht that sank off of Sicily last year has now been lifted out of the waters. Recovery teams complete that operation. This is SRN News.
Your good news this week comes from Hebrews 13:6. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. That's Hebrews 13:6, and that's your good news this week from God's Word and BBN.
Have you a heart?
hour. Music from Toby, Josiah Queen, a little bit Bryn Elliott, class back, and tonight, interviews from Forrest Frank, Blanca, and Gio, wherever you're listening, including our friends listening in Peru. Welcome to the Z Nation. Great to have you listening tonight. Love to hear from you. Text me at 866-441-HITS. Love to play something for you.
It's got me living with the lights out.
Aren't here yet. And the third one is always especially surprising to people.
Interesting you say that, because I was looking at the text before that, and it was cordial. It wasn't like, you know, we definitely had some blowouts, we had good times and bad times, like in your relationship. I would say this is a weirder way to end it, for sure. Like, the very last thing that we're going to say to each other in all likelihood is, here's the rundown, and she's just going to leave me an exclamation point going on for the next 30, 40, 50 years of our life, just wondering what could have been, what the hell I'm talking about. Anyway, that's how it goes. 888-710-4ISN is the phone number. Speaking of numbers, in baseball right now, Atlanta shutting out Miami. That game's about final 7-0. Tampa took care of Detroit earlier today. Detroit's awesome. Tampa's not bad. They've been playing really good baseball. The Rays 8-3 over Detroit. The Yankees shut out Baltimore earlier today 9-0. Same exact score in Minnesota. Don't you know? Home of Mall of America. Milwaukee went into Minnesota and won 9-0 earlier today. I got a little bet on this Royals and Padres game. First pitch is about 10 minutes from now. While we're talking some baseball, let's take a updated standings. The Yankees only 1.5 games up on the Rays. This time 2 weeks ago, they were, I think they got 6.5, if not 7 games clear of everybody in the division. And I think that most baseball fans thought that this season, it was going to be the Yankees, division to lose, the Orioles were going to be really good, and then the Blue Jays and the Red Sox were going to be, you know, part of the conversation, but the Rays were going to take a step back. I mean, they're playing in a minor league baseball stadium, in the smallest market in baseball. And they're a game and a half back of the Yankees. As much as we've talked about New York and the hot start they've gotten off to, don't look now, but objects in your rearview mirror are closer than they appear, and that object is a Ray. In the Central, it's the Tigers leading the way, and they're going to run away with this thing. This is a fun division. Cleveland, the Royals, the Twins, all kind of hanging around 500. Everybody beats up on the White Sox. The best part about the White Sox this year is that the Rockies exist. Because the White Sox still suck at baseball. They're 24-53 coming off the season where they lost, what they lose last year, like 118 games. But all they got to do to make themselves feel better is look at the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies are 5-5 in their last 10, which for them is like the 27 Yankees. I mean, this is quite a run. 5-5 in their last 10 games because they're 17-59 overall. They're on pace to lose damn near 130 games. And they're 29.5 games back. And they've gotten outscored by their opponents, talking about the Rockies, by 202 runs, which is twice as bad as the Yankees and 3 times as the A's, and 3 times worse than the White Sox. The White Sox are not good at baseball. I'm going to reiterate. They've been outscored by 75 runs. But there's different levels of sucking. And the Colorado Rockies have been outscored by 200 runs this season.
They also have the fewest wins through 70 games since the 1899 Cleveland Spiders.
I remember that team. Yeah, they were nasty. I mean, not nasty like in a good way. They were nasty in a sucks way. You know what else I thought was going to be like the Rays this year in the American League? Houston. Or as my dad would say, Houston, because he leaves the H off. I thought they were going to take a little bit of a step back this year, but I was wrong about that. They're going to lead. They're going to win the division once again. Probably going to end up winning 100 games. They're 5.5 games clear in the West right now of the Seattle Mariners, and I don't really know what to make of the rest of the division. I know the A's suck. I know the Angels are still kind of in a rebuilding process. The Texas Rangers is a tough team to figure out. They're the American League version of the San Diego Padres. Like, what are you going to get this week? What are you going to get this series? You're going to look up at the end of the year and go, oh, that team didn't make the playoffs, or maybe they won 100 games. It just doesn't make any sense with the Rangers team. That, what are we, not even 3 full years removed from them winning the World Series. So that's kind of how the American League looks. We'll take a look at the National League here in just a minute. But before we do, speaking of the National League, did you see who was back at Wrigley Field this weekend? for the first time in over 20 years. That's right. Slammin' Sammy. I used to love Harry Carey's calls of Sammy Sosa home run. It's a shoo-shoo pick the Sosa. He swings and hits this one deep left center. That was a terrible Harry Carey impersonation, but that was like toward the end of his career. He was still doing his thing. I was actually at the game, not for nothing. I was at the game before the Bartman game. Me and my cousin Danny. It was game 2 of the National League Championship Series back in whatever year that was. And the Bartman game was in game 6. So I guess when I say I was at the game before, I was at the game at Wrigley before. And Sammy Sosa hit this incredibly far home run. That's still when he was the toast of the town. Everybody loved that guy. Let me say this about Sammy Sosa and about the entire steroids era while we're having this little conversation. It's time. It's just time. It's time to let those guys in the Hall of Fame. Sometimes, especially baseball fans, they can get stuck in their ways. Every other sport added more postseason teams, then baseball finally came around a couple of years ago. Every other team had replay, and then baseball finally came around. You would think at some point they're going to change from 162 games to go back to 154, or, I don't know, 130. What do we really need in life to do 162 times to tell us who's the best at it? In the NFL, all we need is 16 or 17 games, and we're pretty sure who's the best, right? In the NBA, hockey, 82 games, and that's a hell of a lot. All right, we're pretty sure. 162? That's absolutely crazy. So you would think at some point baseball might end up coming around on that also. But overall, when it comes to being stuck in their ways and changing, coming around with the times, it's time. Sammy Sosa back at Wrigley Field for the first time in 20 years. The steroids era was, what are we talking about, 25 years ago. Also, it was awesome as baseball fans. We can pretend like, but those guys cheated the game and cheated their record book and cheated their bodies. I think the punishment for the steroids era, instead of keeping them out of the Hall of Fame, because that's what it is, it's punishment. It's you screwed up our record books, 73 home runs and all these crazy RBI numbers would have never happened. We all know that if it wasn't for steroids. And the only way that baseball can punch back is to say, all right, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, A-Rod, we're just not going to let you in the Hall of Fame. How do you like that? You can take your millions, you can take your records, but this is your punishment. To me, the punishment for the steroids era is you got to walk around with a giant head and shrunken testicles. You know what I mean? Like, I think that those are symptoms of steroids. I don't know, I never tried them. But to me, that's punishment enough now. I would have never had this conversation 20 years ago when steroids was still a topic. I never would have had this conversation a decade ago when it still felt like Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were these bad dudes. All they really were was stuck in the era of steroids. What I'm trying to say is, what were they supposed to do? If you remember what Sammy Sosa looked like, and I'm not talking about like physically how he actually looks, I'm talking about more his body structure back when he was on the White Sox and the Rangers. Remember that? Like way before he was the Sammy Sosa that you're thinking of. If every other player, or let's say, what do we think, 75, 80% of the players in that era were doing steroids, they were in a locker room where some other dude was doing steroids, whether it was Jose Canseco or Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa or Big Papi or Alex Rodriguez or Roger Clemens or Andy Pettit. Those are just the guys that we know of, which makes me think that all these other dudes at other levels did it, but just they weren't as successful, so we don't talk about them as much. But my point is, I'm kind of blabbering, but my point is, what were those dudes supposed to do to even the playing field? Were you supposed to go snitch? Were you supposed to go to your coach or to the commissioner or to the government and say, yeah, but I think that Big Papi's doing it illegally? No. If you were a pitcher, you were just supposed to inject some steroids in your ass. I think that's how you did it. And just throw a faster fastball. That was the way those guys kept up. So it's almost childish 25 years later. It's almost short-sighted, especially now that Pete Rose is about to get led into the Hall of Fame here pretty soon, to pretend that the steroids era just didn't exist. To pretend like, oh, we're still mad. Like, if a parent wants to ground their kid for a while, okay, that's what you're supposed to do. But you don't ground them for life. At some point, you go, all right, you screwed up, you did your time, and now we move on. So to not have Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame 25 years after the steroids era, or to not have Roger Clemens, who's probably one of the 5 greatest pitchers to ever pick up a baseball. It's not even from those players' perspective or from a fan's perspective. It's more from the perspective of the game. Like, the game almost pretends like it didn't happen when we all watched, when we all enjoyed it, when we all know that it happened. And I'm not saying we need to celebrate it. We just need to note that it happened. It would be like something bad happened in a history book and they just don't talk about it because it's tough to talk about it because it didn't look good for our country or whatever. It happened. I know that it's kind of a split division on this particular topic, but at this point, what are we really doing? Sammy Sosa's back at Wrigley. Pete Rose going to get allowed in the Hall of Fame. Just open the damn floodgates. Or start a new Hall of Fame. The Steroids Hall of Fame. Down in Miami, put it in Alex Rodriguez's neighborhood. Instead of giving guys busts with their hat on, we can give them like a pair of ass cheeks with a needle hanging out of it. Right? No, maybe. 888-710-4ISN is the phone number. You know what I do like, though, about what I've seen the last few days in baseball? Fighting. I love it. I know that I'm not supposed to say that, and anytime there's a fight on a baseball field, if you're not at the game, all of a sudden the cameras go away from it. Why? Like, look, if there's blood involved or somebody's breaking bones, I get it. We can be squeamish and we're there to watch baseball. But let's not pretend like if you're at a game or watching on TV and there's a brawl that goes down, that's not the most exciting thing that happened to you all week. It absolutely is. Whether it was yesterday with the Astros throwing down with the Angels, or a couple of days ago, San Francisco throwing down with LA. I mean, baseball's a little bit stale, it's a little bit stiff. They've done a lot over the last couple of years to speed up the game with the pitch clock and all that. You don't think it'd be better if, like every other game, you saw a little fight, little Robin Ventura and Nolan Ryan? I'm not saying. I'm saying. 888-710-4ISN is the number. I'm looking at the World Series odds right now. It's crazy how one-sided it is, considering it's baseball. It's the one sport where, as long as you get into the playoffs, you've got a shot. It wouldn't be completely crazy for an average team like the Cleveland Guardians, this came to the top of my mind, to get in the playoffs and ultimately to go on to win the whole thing. That's just how baseball works. But the Dodgers are such a heavy favorite right now with BetMGM. The Dodgers are 2-1 to win the whole thing. 2-1 to win the World Series. Followed by the Yankees at 7-1. That's a huge drop-off. Detroit? How about that? Detroit what? Detroit at 9-1, Philly at 10-1, Mets at 10-1 also, Chicago, Houston, and Tampa next. So if you're a long shot there, you can get the Rays right now at 30-1 odds. We'll talk some more baseball as the show rolls along. But coming up on the other side, let's get back onto the football field. We're 84 days away from week 1. Let's take a peek at the Super Bowl odds. And Pete Briscoe's top 100 list is out. Why is Jaden Daniels so low? Why is Baker Mayfield where he is? This list is crazy. Let's talk some football on the other side. I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine, on a Saturday with you right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
We've been blessed to serve the Midlands glass needs for 20 years.
We have been fortunate enough to help thousands of customers with the best glass service in town, in our store, and all over the Midlands.
Sure, we can fix your windshield, usually at no cost to you.
But at Absolute Glass, we can also care for all your other glass needs too.
Home windows, shower doors, tabletops, shelving, storefronts, and all your commercial needs.
Contact us at 803-951-7200 or at absoluteglassinc.com.
Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
I had water pouring over the edge of my roof. My neighbor recommended the Gutterman. Within just a few weeks, they installed beautiful, seamless gutters. And now, no more water problems, just peace of mind.
Tired of water problems? Trust the #1 gutter company in South Carolina, the Gutterman. With almost 50 years of experience and service, they're the go-to name for reliable gutter solutions. Don't wait for a storm to make the call. Visit thegutterman.com today.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
At Atkins Law, we are proud alumni of USC. Since graduating, our attorneys continue to be proud supporters of Gamecock sports.
And we understand that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that breeds excellence on the court. Extensive preparation, teamwork, loyalty, all of those things we put into practice every day.
Remember, if you've been hurt on the job, who you hire matters. Call us at 803-251-6406 or find out more at hollyatkinslaw.com.
Do you like trivia? Do you like pizza? You're gonna love Thursday nights at the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. That's right, Mellow in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington have live hosted team trivia every Thursday night. Trivia buffs of all ages can compete for mellow cash and swag in our fun and funky digs, while enjoying specials on amazing pizza, apps, sandwiches, salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Live hosted trivia at the Mellow Mushroom every Thursday at 7 in the Vista and at 6:30 on Sunset in Lexington.
The post-game show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell. Weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. on The Game.
Sides with Mark Ryan on the Infinity Sports Network. No, Mark, you got me tonight. Sports Machine, Sean Levine, right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We're going to get back into basketball here in just a few minutes because we got a Game 7 coming up tomorrow. And I know that you're probably going to hear this on this network the rest of tonight, probably tomorrow before the game. Somebody's going to come on and say the best 2 words in sports. You know what? You're a corny ass if you say that. You're not wrong. The best 2 words in sports are Game 7. But how many different times do we need to hear the best 2 words in sports are Game 7? All right, cool. We know. But we do have a Game 7 tomorrow. OKC is a 6.5-point favorite. We'll talk more basketball as the show rolls along because we got to talk draft, too. The NBA draft is next week. And I'm not saying this is going to be like the 2003 draft, the 1996 draft, the 1984 draft. But let's compare those coming up here in a little bit and figure out what's the best draft class of all time. 888-710-4ISN is the phone number. Let's take some phone calls. Let's go out to Jacksonville, where Eron joins us here on the Infinity Sports Network. Hey, Eron.
Hey, Sean, you know, when you mentioned that doppelganger and mentioned Lawrence, once again, I'm not too fond of him either, but Jacksonville loves Trevor Lawrence. I thought about a doppelganger for him. I'm thinking of Jeff George.
You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say Justin Herbert, but that's not a bad call, Jeff George.
Right, somebody who's hyped. They always talk about his dog, how great he's going to be, just like Jeff George.
Yeah.
You know, less than 60% completion rate, 1-for-1 almost, a little bit, 1-3 or something, touchdown incompletion rate. And the one thing they always said about Trevor is, but what he did to the Chargers, that comeback. One thing everybody forgets is he was down by 6 scores. He threw 4 interceptions that game.
In the first half.
He's the most wonderful thing in the world. No, he was down because he was afraid of it. That's why he had to come back.
Eron, it's so crazy because, thanks for the phone call, man. It feels like people like you and me are on an island here when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. I think the average opinion from a football fan is that Trevor Lawrence is an average NFL quarterback. Now, he gets paid like he's a top 5 NFL quarterback, and for a couple of years, he got talked about like he was a top 5 NFL quarterback, but I think most people would tell you he's in that 12 to 18 range. I'm telling you, I think he's like 25th. I think he's like 27th. If we start listing the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and we went Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, how far down that damn list did we get to, if we're being honest with ourselves, based on his actual performance until we get to Trevor Lawrence? I think we're seeing a bunch of J.J. McCarthy. Whose name do we call first? One of those dudes.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. See, that might be a little bit of a stretch. But are we sure he's even a starter? If we're just talking about starting quarterbacks in the NFL, where do we have Trevor Lawrence heading into this season, if we're being real?
He's got to be like 25 or lower.
Right? I mean, just based on what he's actually been, I'm sure that I don't think Geno Smith's going to have a huge year with Las Vegas. There are a couple other teams. Indy's in a crap quarterback situation. I don't know how good the Giants. Who knows what Justin Fields is going to be? You might be able to come up with the Cleveland 3 or 4 worse or something like that, but there's not a lot of them. It ain't good, is what I'm saying. 888-710-4ISN's the phone number. Now let's go out to Green Bay, where Eric joins us on the Infinity Sports Network. What up, Eric?
Hey, how's it going, Sean? Appreciate you letting me on.
Sure.
I wanted to touch on the steroid issue. Basically, the way I see it, steroids saved baseball at the time. I'm in my early 40s, so when it was going on, everybody was doing it. It's almost like, doping and cycling, where if you do try to play it clean, you don't stand a chance.
That's right.
And like Bond, he was a stud before he ever did it. The problem is, putting that mark next to all these guys, it sucks they did that. It sucks, hitting 70 homers a year. I mean, you never saw anyone go over 50 really. All of a sudden it was 60s and 70s. So I get it, but that stinks. But when the boss, the commissioner, is looking the other way and almost promoting, like, go ahead, then to punish these guys, like, look what you did. I bet you behind closed doors they're thinking, like, what the hell? This ain't right. To me, I'd get them all in a big meeting room and say, listen, anyone who comes clean in here, not, in front of Congress, just come clean to, like, the, whoever, commissioner and whoever, and if you come clean, we'll let you in. And
do we really care, though? Eric, it's been 25 years, though, bro. Like, do we really need Barry Bonds to come out and say, okay, I cheated, I took steroids, or can't we see the size of his head, and can't we see his records? Does it really matter?
So that way you could say, like, all right, on 11 years, clean, 5, this. So that way we can have true record books again, like...
Intelligence training, how to...
Apart from you, nor shall my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord who has mercy on you.
This goes out to every heart.
Community, where part of it every day. Be a part of our upcoming events. Sumter County First Responders Night on August 14th and our Carolina Career Fair on August 20th, both taking place at the Sumter County Civic Center. If you manage or own a business and want to take part in these and other high-profile events, call 803-775-2321. That's 803-775-2321 and be a part of the community.
At the University of South Carolina Sumter, we may be a small institution, but we offer big opportunities. Everything from high school dual enrollment to bachelor's degrees, students have the chance to participate in academic research and athletics, make connections that last a lifetime, and set themselves up for future success. Thanks to our scholarship and financial aid programs, many of our students experience all USC Sumter has to offer with no out-of-pocket tuition costs. Are you ready to be a fire ant and part of the Carolina family? Visit uscsumter.edu and apply today.
P15 Baseball is back. Join Jenkins Dwight and Taylor Novinger for P15 Baseball on Old School 92.3 and 93.3 and AM 1290. Sponsored by Dixie Products, the Electric Motor Sales and Service, the Bank of Clarendon, Newman's Automotive, Spice and Grain Gourmet, Representative Ralph Norman, the Fence Company of Sumter, Farm Bureau Insurance Sumter County, and USC Sumter. P15 Baseball is on Old School.
Here it comes. Old school, baby. More old school from 92.3 and 93.3. Old school 93.3.
That was our very own Bob Thompson with Sweet the Rain, written by Cliff Burwell, sung by Nat King Cole originally. You're listening to Mountain Stage, live performance radio from the mountain state of West Virginia. LLP, a nationwide law firm born in West Virginia, taking on your toughest cases. To Mountain Stage. Additional support is provided by the Charleston, West Virginia Convention.
Don't ask for passwords or credit cards. Just download.
I mean, we expand upon that with...
Go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Goblin, the only clogged dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog himself. Green Goblin. Let the Goblin get it.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
Q100.1. Whoa, here's what you might have missed on the Bird Show. All I'm looking for is 3 examples. 3. Why it's better to be...
I love it. 3. I bet you do, girl. Thanks for hanging with iHeart Country House Party and Jelly Roll. Do not. My crowd favorites Joe and Johnette. Step up to the mic for your moment of glory. There's $1,000 in cash up for grabs, split between first, second, and third place. While you're there, sink your teeth into the famous saddle steak. 14 ounces of perfectly grilled deliciousness that locals can't stop talking about. Cold drinks, hot food, and a night full of music and fun. Then come back Saturday night for the Southern Style Band, live in the famous Saddle Stage, bringing down the house with your favorite Southern rock and country hits. We're talking the Golden Saddle, 2244 Harrybird Highway in Darlington, where the steak is sizzling and the stage is yours. Come sing, eat, dance, and win big, only at the Golden Saddle.
At the sound of the guitar riff, it's time to rock. 94.7 The Hog.
A-U-D-I. Career, looking for a great work family.
Recovery of unlisted is before decent
Gives his duties. And part of his duties
is to find translators. And we specify, you know, a translator doing triage is very simple, few words, but a translator doing pharmacy, that's a whole different thing, because there's specific names and dosages, things like that. A translator working with a doctor would even be more so. And the translator working, if necessary, with the gospel, that's even a bigger situation, needing a translator. So we have to place our translators accordingly.
As you do that, I'm certain you have some native speakers who deliver the gospel.
Yes.
Right? And they themselves preach the gospel without necessarily having to have a translator.
That's what we like.
Yeah, and so I'm sure they share the good news of Jesus Christ, and that's one of the most exciting parts about what we are talking about here, is we put those together. And I know that you must encounter really some serious, actually, in the field, and out in the bush.
Calico and Jackson Labs did just that. They followed nearly 1,000 mice on different diets. Some fasted, some cut calories, and some ate freely. And mice on a 40% calorie restriction lived the longest, but they were also colder, weaker, and more prone to infections. Turns out, health and lifespan don't always go hand in hand. Some mice with great health died earlier, while unhealthy mice hung around. This study shows that diet can affect our longevity, but it's a balancing act. So cut the calories if you want, but maybe keep a pizza in the freezer for morale.
The Lowdown on Science is a production of LAist 89.3.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
You'll find the widest selection of Baha'i-related books and more at BahaiBookstore.com.
We would like to take a moment and share this brief devotion from the Baha'i Sacred Writings with you. We hope the combination of divine verses and beautiful music helps lift your spirits just a little higher today.
Supposed to be. It's not. Zero is the standard, and of course, kudos to CBP and the new CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott, who has done tremendous amount of work in such a small amount of time there. He's finally got confirmed, but they got great leadership at CBP, which includes obviously Border Patrol and Office of Field Operations, with the inspectors at the ports of entry. And I think you're going to see a lot more different types of operations at the border besides keeping the illegals out.
Other than just enforcing the law, what did they do? I mean, it's the same person. I don't think we've added any personnel since Trump came in. It's the same laws as when Otto Penn was the president. So what specifically did they do? They just said no more catch and release. That's it. And the word got around and people don't even try.
Yeah, a couple of things. Those are the easy ones, right? The catch and release, the policy, and yes, just enforcing the law. But yeah, bringing additional personnel, not new personnel, but shifting personnel around. Obviously, the help of the military and the National Guard, policy with Mexico. If you start combining all that, which obviously didn't take a lot of that much effort by the Trump administration, it was just the will to actually do it. Now you're seeing the results. And I'm going to tell you, this is only the beginning, because when it comes to ports of entry, land borders, seaports,
I think you're going to see a lot more different types of enforcement, especially southbound operations, to keep track of who's actually leaving the country. There's over 1 million people that have auto-deported or self-deported themselves already. So they're going to start grabbing these different types of statistics as well.
It's Victor Avila. Go to VictorAvilaSpeaks.com. Also get Agent Under Fire. It's a great book. He's a former HSI agent. Because you're HSI, I know that the dust-up that happened in New Jersey will also involve HSI and ICE. Might even mention FBI there. I'm not sure about that one. You have members of Congress show up, including LaMonica McIver. You have the local mayor show up of Newark, this guy, Raz Baraka. He decides he wants to go in there and make sure that it passes inspection. They've got all the permits there. It is an absolutely above reproach facility. But he shows up trying to get in to look around. And they ended up letting him in and telling him to leave. He wouldn't leave. He ended up getting arrested. Those charges have been dropped. But in the melee, you got members of Congress that showed up. And LaMonica McIver is the one I want to focus on because she's been charged now. And they decide we're here to do oversight, period, let us in. And when they don't let them in, there's some sort of a dust-up because there are also anti-ICE demonstrators happening right there. And in the fray, she's like giving the forearm shiver to the back of HSI and ICE members' heads. She's attacking federal agents. It's all on video. And she can sue me if she wants. I'm just saying what I saw on that video. Now, Lena Hava has said, the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey, we're charging her. She's getting charged with all the attacking a federal officer. When you saw that go down, I mean, have things ratcheted up so much, Victor, left versus right, that these people think they can get away with something like that with impunity?
Yes, and it's unfortunate because I wouldn't tolerate it. I mean, no police officer, no state police officer, municipal, sheriff would allow that to happen to anybody, especially elected officials. Their checks of these facilities is not what you and I would consider the same thing as to go in there and see what's going on. I don't remember them doing that for the last 4 years. For the dozens of facilities that they built to process illegal aliens into the country. Where was that oversight? And so it's obviously grandstanding, it's politically motivated, but what's not, has never changed is the law. And you cannot put your hands on a federal officer or an agent, and you cannot just prosecute, not just arrested, they should be prosecuted, and I want to see it go through. If charges eventually get charged for whatever it is, if dropped for a reason, that's another thing. But actually, you need to hold these people accountable, because if you and I would do that, we would definitely go to jail and probably end up serving some time.
Well, and again, she's being prosecuted. The grand jury was convened. They sent up some charges, and Hava is going to follow through with that. Conversely, you've got this guy, Alex Padilla, the U.S. Senator, who I couldn't pick out of a lineup before that. I've seen him before, but I didn't know who it was. Shows up at a federal building, at the ICE building in L.A., where you've got Christine Noem, the DHS secretary, giving an opening remark to a press conference. He's not press. He's not there as an invitee. He happened to be in the building on some other thing. That's how he got past security. Walks in and confronts the DHS secretary as she's speaking. He's told to leave. He won't leave. He's then pushed back. And Victor, he like a linebacker, digs in and pushes back against the FBI agent who's trying to get him out of there. Then he finally says, I'm Senator Alex Padilla. You and I could say we're Senator Alex Padilla. We don't know who that is. But the guy in street clothes shows up. He's not being charged. He was taken down, put in handcuffs, but no charges. Meets with Christine Noem afterwards, and then goes on the Senate floor trying to cry about how he was manhandled and treated like garbage. So what's going on here? Because again, those agents do the right thing, and he should be. He was certainly confronting and assaulting and trying to get to Christine Noem. How do we stop this? They're trying to make more violence in the street. They're trying to incite more uprisings like LA, like what happened in Minneapolis back in 2020. Something's got to be done, no?
That's the bigger picture. It's the rhetoric from the left that is almost enticing not just elected officials and anybody to go riot and destroy and burn down cities. This is what I think President Trump is not going to allow us to tolerate anymore. He's going to send in the military, he's going to send in national, whoever he needs to send in immediately to stop this from getting out of hand, because now they feel kind of emboldened and entitled to charge at agents, to confront the secretary. There's many different ways if they wanted to do this, diplomatic ways and education ways that I used to do in my career if you want to approach somebody to talk to them. But once you start getting physical and avoid identifying yourself and telling people what your actual agenda is, this is nothing but a political stunt to get fundraising, especially for the guy from LA. And then you got the other one that got arrested the other day that keeps on shouting that I want to see the judicial warrant. So I want to tell you, ICE agents do not need a judicial warrant to arrest anyone. 99.9% of my arrests in my 20-year career are without a warrant. They were without a warrant. And they started spewing, they began spewing all these lies. You need a warrant, come open the door, you don't have to answer questions, and all these lies that people start believing them. And then because the ICE agent does have the authority to do it, people think that they don't, and then you have the conflict. And this is the problems that we find ourselves in right now.
And that's the thing, you make such a great point. So somebody who's on the edge, who's a borderline nut job, is going to see a U.S. senator and a U.S. representative being violent, being physical, trying to push their way through. So the layperson's going to say, well, I can throw a Molotov cocktail. I can burn an American flag and shut down a highway. You know what I mean? I think there's got to be censure for Padilla. He should have been charged. Monica McIver needs to not only be charged, but also prosecuted. She should get kicked out of the House of Representatives. We've got to make an example of them, or else this is going to stop. Former federal agent, go get his book. It's called Agent Under Fire. Go to VictorAvilaSpeaks.com. Make that happen as well. We just saw yesterday Kathy Hochul in New York, Victor, walked in front of a courthouse and said, because these people deserve legal representation and they don't have any, we're going to make a fund and have $50 million available to defend illegal aliens in New York. Victor, $50 million of taxpayer money is going to be allotted to people that you and I both know the only due process they deserve is, are you here legally or not? You're not, you got to go. That's it. They don't deserve the full breadth of due process you and I as American citizens get. They get the due process of legal or not, stay or not, asylum or not. That's it. What do you think of that? Tens of millions of dollars to help illegals out in New York.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. They keep on dying on the wrong hill and picking the wrong issue, the Democrats here, especially these far-left Democrats. Didn't they learn enough, especially in New York, getting $500 a night hotels for illegals and paying for the clothes and paying for the health care and paying for everything else, education? Didn't they learn from the New Yorkers themselves that they're sick and tired of that their money, the black community, the Hispanic community, the legal immigrants that are in this country, saying enough is enough? And yet they do not listen. They're tone deaf. They are not paying attention to their actual constituents that they want to be taken care of first. The actual crime that's happening in New York. This is the mentality that they continue to support the guy from Maryland, the man from Maryland, the people from Maryland. They're going to start supporting all these people that die on the wrong hill and getting nowhere. The only positive I see that is that will make it easier for the Republicans to remain in office.
Love of diversity. God hasn't given us a stingy, mingy, dull little world to live in. But He's given us a world just chock full of things. Beautiful things. Beautiful plants, beautiful trees, intriguing animals. One of my favorite verses is from Psalm 104, where it talks about God giving the Leviathan to play in the seas. You know, maybe the Leviathan's good for whale oil, but primarily the Leviathan was created just because there's a playful dimension to God, that He loves the fullness of things. He loves the diversity of things. And apparently that's true in the spiritual realm as well as in the physical realm, because He's made angels, different kinds of angels, to do different things. Not because He needs them. He doesn't need whales, and I hate to tell you, He doesn't need you. He doesn't need me. He isn't.
Live your dreams, to get out of that stuckness. A chance to win a $10,000 or $5,000 scholarship towards an associate, bachelor's, or master's degree. You could even win a $1,000 scholarship just for entering. You get to pursue your calling while investing in your spiritual growth at Colorado Christian University. Rules and a chance to win at K-Love.com.
Here are this week's top 3 songs, according to our K-Love insiders.
Number 3, John Reddick, No Fear.
No fear.
As well, so we'll reach out to all of them and finally
song I wrote for my wife, actually. But as you're soon to hear, this is not a love song. Because I wrote it while we were in the midst of a very profound fight with one another. It was a disagreement. We couldn't come to any, we couldn't make amends, couldn't solve it, we couldn't compromise in any way. Because I was absolutely right. And,
but I was doing a very poor job in conversation of articulating why. And she was doing a pretty good job on her end, I'm not going to lie. So I thought to myself, you know, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to get my point across to her? Because I'm doing a horrible job in conversation. And I thought, you know what? For the last 15 years for a living, I have communicated via the medium of song. So maybe if I put my point in song, it'll better get across to her. So I sat down, I worked very hard, and I finished this that I'm about to play for you. This is my attempt to describe to my wife what I think is the nature of our domestic reality. And this song is called I Don't Work in a Bank.
$781 on approved credit. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Find what you love what
LA for a second. It's my belief, and I want to know your opinion on this. It's my belief that Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom wanted the streets to burn. If they do, they can now blame Trump. Look what Trump did. Look what Nome did. Look what ICE did. So Trump, after seeing what happened in 2020, says, I'm not going to wait for you to ask for the National Guard. I'm sending them in. And we're going to save the 101 freeway. And we're going to save the ICE facility there. We're going to save the streets of that section of California, of LA. And it worked. It worked very well. Now, what Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom were saying is, it never needed to be sent in. There was no reason for it. It actually made things worse. Do you agree with me that Trump does the right thing by sending them in preemptively and saving that city, no matter what Bass and Gavin Newsom have to say?
I do, and I actually, when this was happening, I actually wanted a little bit harder enforcement and a harder show of force, believe it or not. And not because I want to cause more destruction, it's because I want to send a message to these states through California, which is where the focus was, and say, take over and not allow them. You notice initially LAPD was ordered to stand down, and then they couldn't do that anymore. Now LAPD actually was the one at the forefront. It was no longer actually ICE agents, but they kind of realized, well, they're destroying the city, and because they don't care about the city, they don't care about their constituents and the citizens of their hometown. It is heartfelt, but the people are noticing, they're watching, and they're paying attention. That listen. Especially people get confused because an officer will go in and encounter somebody, but we don't know if that person is either illegal or a criminal. But that's why we have to do the investigation, and we have to approach. Now they don't want ICE to approach anyone. Don't you talk to anybody? Don't you ask? And don't you question anybody? You're questioning a U.S. citizen. I questioned dozens and hundreds of U.S. citizens in my career. Again, I want to clarify the authority of ICE and what they can and cannot do, which there's a lot more than people know that they can do, and the authorities back from the INS, back from the U.S. Customs Service, they need to understand what the authorities of these agents are, because if not, they're going to get in trouble for obstructing them.
It is Victor Avila. Go to Victor Avila Speaks. Only about a minute and a half left, Victor. Tell me about these tunnels that were just discovered in San Diego. Is this a big deal?
It's a big deal. A lot of people don't know, but the HSI has the San Diego Tunnel Task Force, which, by the way, you didn't hear about it a lot for the last 4 years because nobody was out there investigating them. Guess what? We're back. They're investigating them, and they're going to discover them. They have discovered this big one. Usually, probably use a lot for dope smuggling. The height was pretty much you could fit human beings through there as well. But usually for dope in that area. And I'm going to tell you right now, Joe, you're going to see more tunnels be discovered, especially in the Arizona, New Mexico area. They're there, and it's a matter of just having the personnel and having the investigators out there finding with sources and other means to find out these tunnels, because they are in existence, especially right now as secure as the border is above ground.
Are there tunnels along all of Texas, we have the Rio Grande, so you probably can't do a tunnel there. Maybe you can, I don't know. But in California, Arizona, New Mexico, are there a lot of tunnels there that haven't been discovered? Or is it specific to California because it's a sanctuary state?
No. Not California because of the terrain, Arizona because of the terrain, New Mexico. Believe it or not, in El Paso, Texas, they've discovered a few. Even under next to the canal, you have the river, you have the Franklin Canal, and you still had a tunnel underneath to there. So it doesn't prevent them from trying it. You don't hear a lot of them in southern Texas, but from El Paso west up until California is where they're most concentrated on.
Victor Avila, last question, maybe 30 seconds, Victor. Is Sheinbaum cooperating in Mexico? She says things out loud, then she does something different behind the scenes. How do we feel about this president of Mexico?
My opinion is she's not doing enough. She's saying one thing publicly, doing stuff in the background, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes in between. I don't think she knows what foot to take forward. If she takes it in one direction, the cartel and her own party goes against her. If she goes in the other direction, then President Trump and the other person will go against her. I think she's in a difficult position, but she needs to make up her mind and be clear of what team she plays for.
Victor Avila, go to VictorAvilaSpeaks.com. Go get his book, Agent Under Fire. Follow anything that he does. If he's speaking somewhere near you, go and check it out. Victor, always appreciate the friendship and that incredible knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, brother. We're back after this. Stay right here.
This is the Joe Bag Show.
You're listening to the Joe Bag Show on Live 95.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left? I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that? My thinning hair is making me feel so old. If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need hair volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume. Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped. Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine. My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
At first glance, Terrence and Shania have nothing in common. Terrence is a musician. He's constantly traveling. He's 32 years old, single with no kids, and started smoking when he was 16. Shania, on the other hand, just turned 45. She owns a coffee shop, she is married with 2 kids, and has never smoked. What makes Terrence and Shania similar is that they both have been diagnosed with small cell lung cancer, and it was caught early. That's right, small cell lung cancer can affect anyone. The good news is early lung cancer screenings can detect small cell lung cancer before it spreads, when the disease is most treatable. Join Stand Up to Cancer and Jazz Pharmaceuticals to raise awareness of small cell lung cancer and accelerate the pace of research. Ask your healthcare provider about screening options that might be right for you or a loved one. Visit standuptocancer.org/lung to learn more.
fire. He was shot in a shootout with a Mexican cartel. Also, his partner, Jaime Zapata, was killed in that shootout. Go and read up about that. Very, very smart guy when it comes to what's going on at the border. We always appreciate him taking the time. Next hour, bottom of next hour, more on the Karen Reed trial out of the verdict is now in, by the way. You heard it yesterday. Out of Massachusetts, we'll have Larry Foreman on, who is a lawyer who's been following it very, very closely on YouTube. Great information from him and more. Keep it here.
This is the Joe Pags Show.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow. Provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe, Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Venus Restaurant and Catering, your go-to spot for delicious breakfast and lunch in Florence. Since 1977, we have been serving up fresh and tasty meals to our loyal customers. Our breakfast menu features all of your favorites, from our fluffy pancakes to our fruity French toast, mouth-watering omelette. There's something surely to satisfy your craving. And the best part is, breakfast is served anytime. Or come for lunch. We prepare hot, fresh daily lunch specials serving juicy meats and fresh vegetables. Whether you dine in or grab something to go, come on in and enjoy your next meal with us. But that's not all. Venus offers catering for your next event. Whether it's a business meeting or a family gathering, our experienced staff will create a customized menu that fits your needs. The best part is, your catering is hassle-free, so you can focus on enjoying your event while we take care of the food. Come see us at 471 West Palmetto Street and taste the difference. Venus is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 7 a.m.
From the Dumpster Pro Studios, this is Live 95, WFRK Quimby, Florence, and WHYM Lake City.
Important decision. I'm Daria Albinger, Fox News. President Trump is gathered his National Security Council for a rare Saturday night meeting. He's still debating whether the U.S. should launch an attack on Iran, which has been locked in a conflict with Israel for more than a week now. Fox's Greg Palkett has more from the Middle East.
Officials here are on high alert in Tel Aviv, looking for the possibility of any new attacks. As we saw last night, Iran seems to prefer the overnights for their offensive activity. Last night, 5 Iranian missiles were launched, all shot down by Israel's anti-missile defenses. This as Israeli jets have been very active today against Iran, pummeling the Isfahan nuclear facility, damage done to the centrifuge construction activities and operations. Tonight, strikes have been involving some 60 fighter jets, hitting missile factories and launchers.
6 B-2 stealth bombers from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri appear to be en route to a United States air base in Guam. Could they be used in an attack on Iran? Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the White House.
Experts say this noisy transit across the Pacific is a sign Trump is negotiating with Iran with a gun on the table. Moving B-2 bombers, each potentially armed with a pair of 15-ton bunker-busting bombs. One of the reasons we saw those tankers over Whiteman to refuel them when they launched from Missouri so they could top off with fuel because of the heavy load. Now, Guam will likely be the go-no-go site if Trump orders a strike on Iran's uranium enrichment plant at Fordo. If caught upon a strike, officials say they could launch a much quieter mission leaving Missouri. Top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee says Trump should hold fire.
Mr. Trump says he'll make a decision on whether to launch an attack within the next 2 weeks. America's listening to Fox News.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
I'm Janice Dean, Fox News senior meteorologist and host of the Janice Dean podcast. Sunday as I focus on stories of hope and people who are truly rays of sunshine in their community and across the world. Be sure to subscribe to the Janice Dean podcast at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to spread the sunshine.
America is listening to Fox News. From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
This is Jason Chaffetz from the Jason in the House podcast. Join me every Monday to dive deeper into the latest political headlines and chat with remarkable guests to hear their take on American life, politics, and entertainment. And don't forget, there's always somebody doing something stupid somewhere.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcast.com
or wherever you download podcasts.
Must listen to podcasts from Fox News Audio.
Pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil was greeted by cheers as he arrived today at Newark International Airport. Last night, the Columbia University grad student was released from an immigration detention center on bail. Fox's Chanley Painter with the details.
Mahmoud Khalil, he walked out last night after spending 3 months in that detention center. He was all smiles and he was pumping his fist at one point. He left with one of his attorneys after that federal judge granted him bail. Now, the judge found the Columbia University graduate student was not a flight risk or a danger to the community, and that the detention was therefore, quote, highly unusual. Khalil, who is a lawful permanent resident, he was arrested in March. An immigration judge found he was removable based on a memo from Secretary of State Marco Rubio that said Khalil's activism on campus was at odds with U.S. foreign policy interests in combating anti-Semitism.
The Trump administration is appealing Khalil's release. About 20 million Americans are under extreme heat warnings, and more will be in the coming days, including major East Coast cities like Philadelphia, where this resident's planning to stay inside.
I just want to have to deal with it, I guess, because I can't do anything about the weather.
The record highs in the Mississippi Valley to the northeast could be broken in the coming days. Heat indices, where the humidity is factored into the temperature, could soar over 100 degrees. Ukraine's president says Russia's repatriated at least 20 of its own dead soldiers in recent exchanges with Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky says an Israeli citizen was among the dead involved in recent exchanges. Meanwhile, even though Russian forces only control about a fifth of Ukrainian territory, Vladimir Putin told an economic forum that all of Ukraine belongs to Russia. Ukraine's foreign minister called Putin's comment deranged. I'm Daria Albright. This is Fox News.
This summer, dive into hassle-free pool care with Carolina Pool Pro. Serving Florence and Darlington County, they handle it all. Weekly cleanings, maintenance repairs, liner replacements, and leak detection. And they're hiring. If you're motivated, eager to learn, and have a valid SC driver's license, join their team as a swimming pool tech. Experience is a plus, but they'll train the right person. Call or text Jimmy today at 843-857-9773. Carolina Pool Pro, your pool's best friend.
An abducted child is everyone's child. To get free Amber Alert text messages on your cell phone, go to wirelessamberalerts.org. A child is calling for help. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
For the Community Broadcasters Weather Center, your National Weather Service forecast for tonight, mostly clear skies, a low around 71. Tomorrow, you can expect wall-to-wall sunshine with a high near 93. We start cranking up the heat next week, 96 on Monday before we break 100 on Tuesday.
To talk to Joe, call 888-941-PAGS. And now, it's Joe Pags.
Great radio stations across the land, also on the stream, also on the podcast. Glad to have you. The Joe Pags Show up and running for you Thursday. That's Sam, that is Polo, and I am Joe. Bottom of the hour is going to be another great interview. This time with Larry Foreman. He is an attorney. If you've been paying attention to the Karen Reed trial out of Massachusetts, Canton, Massachusetts. You've probably been floating around YouTube, and I'm sure you've seen this guy. He's a lawyer out of Kentucky who's actually gone to Massachusetts and covered that trial in person. Got more than 500,000 followers over on YouTube because he really does it with flair. He lays it down well. He takes a stand. He fills you on what you're seeing legally speaking, and I really like the guy. Didn't know him, but I liked his style on how he covered the case. So we have him on today. We end up doing a good 50 minutes with him, something like that. It's going to be on the Unshaken and Unafraid podcast, but we will give you as much as we can as time provides here on radio. We'll give you 17, 18 minutes with Larry right here. I think you're going to like what he has to say. If you followed the case, you'll get it. If you didn't, it might be over your head until you get yourself up to speed, but there's a lot to get to on that. It's very enjoyable to talk to the guy. I think you'll like it. Juneteenth is what today is. Well, it's really not. Today's June 19th. We call it Juneteenth. Sam, do you know why they call it Juneteenth?
I really don't know.
What today represents?
I don't know. Something.
Right. Well, do you know?
Wasn't it an announcement, I guess, for the last remaining people to get, oh God.
Well, I know that you're right.
Yeah.
You say it.
Well, it dealt with slavery, and I guess it took until then where it was finally, I guess, officially mandated here in Texas, right? And like Galveston?
You're both very close. You nailed it. It is Galveston.
Yeah.
Without looking it up, let me tell you what it was. The Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln was signed 2 years earlier. And then for some reason, for 2 full years, slaves in Galveston, Texas weren't told they were free. So they just kept on being held as property by these people in Galveston, Texas, until the Union, I believe it was the Union Army that came down and said, you guys are free. What is this? So for some reason in 2021, I believe, Joe Biden decided, let's make this a national holiday. I would prefer, if there's going to be a holiday about the end of slavery, that you recognize the 13th Amendment to the Constitution that said it can't ever happen again, that completely and legally and binding banned slavery in the United States. I would prefer that maybe the victory of the Republicans in the North over the Democrats in the South, maybe that can be the date that you look at, where maybe you had Robert E. Lee sign the end of the war, whatever. And Ulysses S. Grant, obviously, from the North. I don't know why this is the day, but I'm riding around today, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, it's Juneteenth, what do we do? Hey, slavery's over, let's have a barbecue. What do we do? How is this a national holiday? It's the weirdest thing to make it a national holiday. Literally, my bank is closed today. Literally, I was going to go, Sam, I got to go and register one of my cars today?
Yes, you were.
And your mom said, hey, it's Juneteenth, you can't do that. I'm like, what?
Surprise.
What are you talking about? So government agencies are closed, banks are closed, and we're commemorating and I guess celebrating the fact that slaves in Galveston, Texas were lied to for 2 years and didn't know they were free. It's very strange. Now, if you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you know I love all people. You know I've got no problem with us recognizing and commemorating the fact that slavery that was an abomination was outlawed in this country by the 13th Amendment. 13th, 14th, and 15th were all about ending slavery. They were all post-Civil War amendments. We can do something and maybe have school that day, although it's in the middle of the summer, and teach the kids what the 19th of June really means. You want to have some sort of a parade? God bless you. But we close down the entire country to commemorate a day that really was the end of any slavery in the country because slaves were lied to for two full years in Galveston, Texas. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what to do. I know a lot of black people. I interview a lot of black people. Had I had a black person that I was going to interview today, should have said, hey, man, happy Juneteenth. What do you do? What do you do with it? I don't know what the proper protocol is. And you know this was let's squeeze in a holiday, and nobody can complain about it because it'll be called racist if they do. And we'll call it Juneteenth. Again, I'm confused. I really am. Because now we've got February, which is Black History Month. Maybe in Black History Month, part of that month, one of the days can be used to explain what happened on June 19th in Galveston, Texas. Well, Otto Penn, who actually probably signed the proclamation, and the so-called figurehead that was President Biden, well, this guy was invited, I guess, to go to Galveston today. Sam, has this already happened? Do we know?
Let me check.
This is from CBS News, so you never know if it's true. Biden to speak at Juneteenth event at historic church in Galveston, Texas. Written by Melissa Quinn from CBS. Former President Joe Biden will be in Galveston, Texas on Thursday, some would call that today, to join a Juneteenth celebration service at a historic African Methodist Episcopal Church. African Methodist? You think they meant African American? Is there an African Methodist church? I don't know, I guess there could be. The event will be held at the Reedy Chapel AME Church, one of the locations where an order announcing the end of slavery in Texas was read on June 19th, 1865, 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, according to the church. Look, you have to take my word for that. I did not read the story before I told you all I told you in the beginning. I just knew that. Sam, you believe Dad?
100%.
I mean, I did not know they were actually saying. I'm glad they are, because they're reporting it correctly. In 2021, Biden signed into law a measure that made June 19th or Juneteenth a federal holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S., calling the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act. The bill passed the House with overwhelming support and was approved by unanimous voice vote in the Senate. Biden said at the time that June 19th serves as a day in which we remember the moral stain, the terrible toll that slavery took on the country and continues to take. Juneteenth became the nation's first new holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established in 1983. Again, let me go back to what I said at the beginning. What do we do with this day? As he announced the signing, it wasn't celebratory. It wasn't let's celebrate that we're not enslaving humans anymore. No. He literally, this is a quote. It's a day in which we remember the moral stain, the terrible toll that slavery took on the country and continues to take. Hey, let's go grill them. Let's have some potato salad. You know what I mean? So what do we do with that?
I know, I just don't get it. And it's on a Thursday this year.
Listen, just to let you know, today we commemorate the stain. I don't know. What do I do with it? Maybe I'm missing the boat. Maybe I don't get it. I am for all slaves having none. Why wouldn't we celebrate the day the Emancipation Proclamation was signed? Well, that would be the day, wouldn't it? Just because some people in Texas lied about their slaves not being free, that's the day we're remembering? The stain. It's a stain. It certainly is horrible. It was an abomination. I'm glad that Western culture got rid of it. There are more slaves today in Africa than we ever had here in this country ever. And nobody says a word about it. There is sex slavery and human slavery happening across our border, but we're remembering the stain. I don't understand it. How does that bring us together? And again, listen, I'm not a black man, so I don't know. Maybe this is something that the black community says, yeah, we got one, June 19th. But, I mean, there's already a month to where we make sure that we recognize black history. And the vast role that black people in this country played in making us who we are. Then we're doing something. Then we have Martin Luther King Day, which is great. Okay, sounds good. Now we're going to have Juneteenth because of the stain. I mean, this just, when he did this, I remember this vividly. It was a few years ago, 4 years ago. When he did this, I was like, what are we doing? Because literally that proclamation, that law, was put in place to further divide us. Let me remind you of what happened on June 19th, 1865. Instead of just teaching it in history class, we have to once again walk around with some odd feeling of guilt. We have moved past that as a country. We always remember the history, absolutely. But to pass a law about it? And when he proclaimed this, he talked about the stain and how the ramifications still last today. Come on, man. Listen, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to hear your opinion on this. 833-JOE-PAGS. 833-563-7247. JoePags.com. Go there, scroll down, click on contact. I definitely want to hear from you on this because, again, you've got a different perspective. I'll hear you. And remember that remember everything that I said. Don't blow off what I said. You want to commemorate the Gettysburg Address, which is, again, is not the Emancipation Proclamation. You want to recognize and commemorate the Emancipation Proclamation? You want to recognize the end of the war? You want to recognize, I mean, let's talk about it. But Juneteenth? That never made sense. And it happened not in 1870. It happened in 2021, so Biden could further divide us at the behest, I'm sure, of the controller Obama to make sure divide and conquer and you can keep office. Thankfully, people didn't fall for the okie-doke. 833-JOE-PAGS, joepags.com. Want to hear from you. Remember, bottom of the hour, Larry Foreman. Just a fun conversation about that Karen retrial in Massachusetts. Stick around for that. Meantime, I'm going to tell you about AUL. Americans United for Life is an organization that, like me, is pro-life. Like many of you, is pro-life. Like me, like you, we want babies to be born. Been doing the work for over 50 years, 55 years now, they've been doing it. And of course, you've got the 3-year anniversary of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which is a very good thing, but because of the Biden administration, the auto pen administration, you've got, the ability to go and get some abortion pill, take it home, and you have the abortion clinic in people's homes. That made any sense. So they are working on seeing if they can't do more to make sure the babies are born and have a chance at life like you and me. And they could use your help. They live by contributions. They live through gifts. So any contribution, any size, is critical and crucial to helping AUL safeguard pro-life legislation for precious babies and their moms. They're seeking 50 supporters to contribute $50 right now. You go there, any donation is going to help. It doesn't have to be 50. When you give before June 30th, your tax-deductible gift will be doubled. That's right, doubled. Go right now and donate. AUL.org/PAGS, AUL.org/PAGS, AUL.org/PAGS. And we're back after this.
You're listening to Joe Pags.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left? I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that? My thinning hair is making me feel so old. If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume. Since taking Hair Volume has all but stopped. Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine. My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train exists and is proud to be creating a smile across the cleft lip in over 7 fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org. Smile Train, changing the world.
People do some pretty cool 40s, 50s. Why should things for retirement be any different?
This year, the Phillies won all
all those games in a row just to go on a 7-game losing streak. The Mets haven't won in a week. They were up early, then they were down. Now they're back up 4-3. Will the real New York Mets please stand up? Goodness gracious. But before we take these phone calls, I also saw the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are getting a 400% raise. I have so many questions. One, how much were they getting paid to get a 400% raise? I'm reading this on the internet, so it's got to be true. It says that a few years ago, they got paid $200 a game, then it went up to $400 a game or $500, depending on the year.
He could be the next NFL player. No. He might be used as a saint one day to judge angels and lead and direct, because we know that those angels are going to be ministered. They already minister to us, and they're going to minister to us, but we may be leading a group of people, a group of individuals one day in a cataclysmic time in our glorified state. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I just know that when I go to Dallas Seminary every day, what I'm doing that day is going to matter in eternity.
And that, friend, is such an important thing. Maybe what you're doing right now, you may not realize how it matters for eternity. Maybe you'd like to talk to Robert and me, and we'd like to pray with you and encourage you in what you're doing. You know, I think of Galatians 6:10. It says, let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap a harvest if we don't give up. Talk about that verse.
The same author. I look for that consistency in there.
His message.
Again, he's speaking. Paul is not speaking to the next 15 or 20 years for his audiences. Paul is talking about the eternal aspects of what we will be doing, the long game. I tell people that all the time. We can read so much into these scriptures. I think that's where our brothers and sisters that get caught up in prosperity say, well, this means you're going to grab this thing and get it now. No, these passages like that in Galatians are speaking to a future time. That's when you may reap a harvest. You may reap a harvest for God in ministry, but that doesn't mean you're going to be financially well off for the next 6 or 7 generations. It might be that you're planting seeds now for something that's going to be so great in eternity and fulfilling God's plan.
So what about it, friend? Are you maybe a little discouraged right now about the way your ministry is going? Maybe it's a Sunday school class you're teaching, maybe a home Bible study, maybe a small group in a larger church, and maybe people have not been as interested as you feel like they should be. Maybe like Dr. Robert Duckworth, you're involved as a Christian counselor, and you're finding your Christian counselees are not following your Christian counsel very well. You're leading them, but they're just not getting it for some reason, or the people you're teaching are not getting it. We'd love to talk with you, to pray with you, to encourage you, and I suspect that others hearing your question, your comment, might be encouraged as well. Our toll-free number is 855-586-5433. That's 855-586-LIFE. And by the way, if you'd like to learn more about Dallas Theological Seminary, and Robert, there are a number of courses that Dallas has that are really not, don't cost people anything to take. That's one of the new things that Dr. Mark Yarborough and others at the seminary put together. These courses that can help equip people. Talk a little bit about what's available there.
And we do have free online courses with dds.edu. Just go on our website and take a look at those. And that's a way in which we're able to give to those who may not ever get the opportunity that you and I had, Don, to go to seminary and really get access to some of this Bible content. There are even some integration counseling courses on there. I think Dr. Gary Barnes has taught one on there. And there's a number of those in there that can really give you some insights that can help with your Sunday schools, your discipleship work. And Dallas Seminary has used that as a tool to give back to those that may not have the opportunity to access that education just as we were.
You know, there was not that kind of equipping back in the day when I was a student. Even when you were a student, they were still developing those tools. But now with the internet and with the apps and all of those kinds of things, you can access that training hone your spiritual gift. And, you know, I think about Paul's words at the end of Colossians 4. He was talking, and he said, pay attention to your ministry. Take heed to your ministry. And, you know, I think about that, and I think about whatever the ministry a person has. It may be something that you consider very small. Maybe you're about to work in Vacation Bible School. This is the season when churches carry that out. And maybe you're thinking, well, I'm just helping kids glue something on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But you may be having an impact for eternity. And again, God is using this to equip you so that you will be able to have that amazing impact on angels, angelic beings in the future. Unpack that word judge for us. You know, again, we think about judging, we think about somebody in a black robe, so, you know, but talk about what that is involved.
Well, that term really means to govern or some level of stewardship and responsibility. I love the practical term you used earlier, Don, managerial responsibilities. And I think that's what God will have us doing. It may be 3 people, it may be 3 angels. I don't know. But I know that passage is saying that we have some contributions to make alongside with God, co-leading, co-ruling with him, not equal to God, but he's using us, and he's going to use that. So I think the things that we're doing now, it could be your family of origin can play into that. The career path that you've chosen, the work you've done in church, whether it's working with VBS or you're a senior pastor of some major metropolitan church, God is using all of us. Donna, I look at it like this. If we had to do an illustration, it's almost like God, and this will probably show up in a book I'm working on now.
Okay.
It's almost like God has one of these big blue recycling cans in heaven, and he's throwing everything that we've done in there, but when he recycles it, it's going to come out and give him glory.
You know, that picture of recycling is great, because often things that would otherwise be disposed of as garbage are dumped in there, and yet when they put that through the process, it turns into something that is extremely useful. And I believe God's wanting to do that in each of our lives. Dr. Robert Duckworth is with me tonight on the program. You can learn more about Dallas Theological Seminary, the free courses, or come to the seminary to train for vocational ministry. Check out dts.edu, and we'll be right back.
There are only 2 ways that your affairs will be settled after you pass away. Your way or the government's way. For anyone without a will or trust in place, the government will settle it through probate. So we must all ask ourselves, do I want the government to decide how my minor children get their inheritance and where my assets go, and then charge my heirs probate and court fees to make that happen? Or do I want to protect my family from probate and steward the resources that God has entrusted to me by determining how the assets that I leave behind will be used? Find out what you need to know and do to protect your heirs at a free webinar with His Faithful Stewards. This free webinar will discuss wills and trusts and help you understand it all. Go to hisfaithfulstewards.com and find the link for webinars. There's a place there under webinars where you can sign up. That's hisfaithfulstewards.com and the link to webinars. hisfaithfulstewards.com.
When you need to consider independent or assisted living or memory care for a parent or spouse, Restoration Senior Living provides a distinctly Christian setting with the most stringent quality care. Restoration's innovative program addresses the medical, emotional, and spiritual dimensions, leading to an enhanced quality of life. You can learn more at restorationsl.com. That's restorationsl.com.
Saji Lucas grew up in South India without Christ, but when he trusted the Savior, his Hindu family disowned him. His witness brought his entire family to Christ and led to the founding of Mission India, which trains hundreds of village missionaries each year. For a free copy of Saji's biography, Transformed for a Purpose, and to learn more about Reaching Indians Ministries International, visit remi.org. That's remi.org.
I was so high and I was so drunk that I couldn't walk. I couldn't even stand up. I collapsed in my garage, and then I awoke 2 days later in the hospital. I heard about Teen Challenge. I came here, and this place has shown me that it truly does care. That's when everything changed.
At Adult and Teen Challenge, we provide hope and healing for a new drug-free future. And you can find a center nearest you at 855-END-ADDICTION or teenchallengeusa.org. Freedom from addiction starts here.
Welcome back to Encouragement Live. Our toll-free number is 855-586-LIFE. Here again is your host, Don Hawkins, author of Master Discipleship Today.
Dr. Robert Duckworth is with me tonight telling about a remarkable observation from 1 Corinthians 6, a passage, Robert, that I've preached on before and you probably preached on about don't take your brother to law. In fact, if I were to summarize 1 Corinthians 6, it would be don't sue your brother, and then the last part of the passage, don't have sex with your sister.
You're too much. Exactly.
And in between, he says, we will judge angels. And is that part of why you came to Dallas Theological Seminary to help be involved in training men and women there?
That's the very reason I came, Don. When the opportunity to come to Dallas Seminary to be the director of counseling services, I was reluctant, not because of Dallas Seminary, but because of the fact that I was just enjoying what I was doing in the probation system as a clinical director, and I had seen that as a part of this 1 Corinthians responsibility, that what I'm doing now with juveniles, juvenile offenders, and assisting them and their families, putting things back together, putting them on the right track, helping them to avoid the very prisons that I go into in prison ministry. I'm fulfilling purpose, and then the Holy Spirit hit me with this, that now you'll have the opportunity to offer encouragement, offer solace, peace through the work of counseling and teaching other counselors, and now you're going to multiply this work and going out into the world. So you will still be fulfilling your purpose as per 1 Corinthians 6. It's just in a different capacity.
How great is the need, Robert, for biblically trained, the kind of training you do at Dallas Seminary, biblically trained Christian counselors? How big is that need today?
The need is great. One of my buddies that's on our licensing board has said we cannot graduate counselors. He told one of our classes that. I brought him into one of our addictions courses. He said, we cannot graduate you all fast enough based on the mental health needs that are out there. And we know that, and Dallas Seminary is producing probably more counselors out there than anyone. We are well represented in the licensed professional counselor realm out there and working, and we need more that have that biblical foundation, that theological insight to go out there and meet the public. That doesn't mean we're doing small group in therapy, but to have that foundation, the need is so great, and God continues to open doors for our program to grow, for our THMers that are taking the courses. And when they're taking those courses, they're finding ways to incorporate pastoral counseling into their work. So there is no shortage of need. I think it's right in line with the harvest is plenteous. The laborers doing biblical and theological, there are few.
And Jesus underscored that in Matthew 9 and said, pray the Lord of the harvest to send forth laborers into the harvest field. And then in the next chapter he said, okay, you guys go. Go. We may be talking to someone tonight. You have questions about the kind of training available for pastoral work, for Christian counseling work, for any of those areas at Dallas Theological Seminary. Dr. Robert Duckworth is your person to answer those questions, and it won't cost you anything but a quarter if you're at a payphone, or 50 cents, whatever a payphone is. And if you're on a cell phone, you probably have enough minutes, you could call right in. 855-586-5433 is the toll-free number. And Robert, you alluded to something a while ago that I'd like to pick up on. You suggested you were writing a book on this subject. Want to hear about the book?
So a few weeks ago, as I was preparing for the message to preach, I think my wife and I were flying back from the Bay Area and our youngest, and we were coming back, and I said, you know what? This whole 1 Corinthians 6 thing keeps coming up. I think I'm going to preach it next weekend when I go to the prison.
Yeah.
I need to write a book about this. And I just went home. We're talking about 2 weeks ago, Don.
Okay.
I went home and I sat down, I made up a plan, and I said, you know what, I'll just sit down when I get to work tomorrow, and I'm going to write out a few chapters. What will be some potential chapters?
Put the outline together.
Put the outline together, and I started putting it together. I'm trying to find a way in which I can, and I haven't fleshed this thing out completely, but my major theoretical orientation that I lean into as a counselor is narrative theory, narrative therapy.
Right.
And that talks about